Hey everybody, it's me, it's your good buddy Thorne, and today we're going to talk about the rogue. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hei mok var det sång i liv. Vakna dikko edelige drenge. De høyre nykken på havet skri. For de hev sovet i for lenge.
So hey, it's great news, guys. We're actually doing filming today. It is the first day of principal filming for the 2019 season here at Larp on the Borderlands. And so this happened. So here we are at the beginning of our March filming schedule. Today we're supposed to be filming outside. As you can probably tell, we're probably not going to film a whole lot. So, yeah, we're going to film inside. Studio's not quite ready to go. It's actually it's getting pretty close. So, we got a few more things to work on. We got our prop room to fix up. Our costume, our costumes which will go into the prop room. We've got to get the rest of the closet hanger stuff put together, but we are well on working. But we didn't want to delay any more time. We were going to dive right deep into our first video series, which is going to be on the Rogue, and we're really excited about it. Because the Rogue character is one of those characters in NPCs that are pretty tough to play correctly. I mean, we see a lot of people doing it because it's, let's be honest, it's a fun character to play. You get to play the bad guy, so to speak, and so it does have a lot of draw to it. And that iconic character of the Rogue, you see across the board in fantasy, and in science fiction for that matter. But in fantasy, you really see that Rogue character coming to his own, and it's pretty cool. Now, there are various game systems out there, and so we won't cover them all, of course. And even at LARP on the Borderlands, we talk about the Rogue in very generic terms because we allow you to kind of develop what you want to do, because it is so wide-stretching what that character encompasses, okay? So, to start with, let's just take a look at Dungeons and Dragons and what they say about the Rogue. Now, we'll use 5th edition just to keep us up to date. But I've got my older books out, and we'll take a look at how it's changed over time, all right? So let me grab my book. From the Player's Handbook, the core rule book. Let's see. Ah, yes, the Rogue. Rogues share little in common with each other. Some are stealthy thieves, others are silver-tongued tricksters. Still others are scouts, infiltrators, spies, diplomats, or thugs. What they share is versatility, adaptability, and resourcefulness. In general, rogues are skilled at getting what others don't want them to get. Entrance into a locked treasure vault, safe passage through a deadly trap, secret battle plans, a guard's trust, or some random person's pocket money. So there is actually very little in the Dungeons and Dragons Player's Handbook that says what a rogue can and cannot be. He is, from a definition point of view, a unsavory character, a scallywag, if you will. But interestingly, what it does say is he can be all these different sorts of things. Just in that little passage, we're talking spies, diplomats, smugglers, pirates, pickpockets, strong arm robbery, burglary, breaking and entering, all these less than legal, if you will, less than legal things we can find our road to be. And really, when you think about it, not so much a rogue or a burglar, but an expert treasure hunter. Which leads me to probably the classic, maybe not rogue in a traditional sense of the word, but definitely a burglar, and that is, of course, Bilbo Baggins in The Hobbit. Now, Mr. Baggins was not a burglar prior to this, nor does he show any signs of being a burglar prior to. And really, nobody knows exactly why Gandalf had chosen him to be the last member of the party. But Gandalf did, and Hobbit, as a rogue, as a thief, and as a pickpocket, what came into fantasy legend. So, there are some racial characteristics of hobbits that play into being a rogue character. They're very stealthy, they're small, they can get into places. And so that racial characteristic does play into choosing that character role. But what if we wanted to recreate not Bilbo Baggins, but a halfling, a hobbit, a small foot or shoeless person as a rogue? How would we go about doing that? So we take our cues from The Hobbit. Great movies, by the way. And this is a great piece in the book. Is Bilbo Baggins, the dwarves have already gone. Up jumped Bilbo and put on his dressing gown and went into the dining room. Of course, nobody was there. And in the book, he kind of forgets about it. And he goes about his day, and then suddenly Gandalf appears and says, "My dear fellow, whatever are you doing? What about early start? Why, you have 10 minutes to make your meeting with the dwarves." And to the end of his days, and of course Bilbo takes off, and to the end of his days, Bilbo could never remember how he found himself outside without a hat, without a walking stick, without any money or anything that he usually took with him when he went out, leaving his second breakfast half finished and quite unwashed, pushing his keys into Gandalf's hands and running as fast as his furry little feet could carry him down the lane, past the great mill, across the water, and then on for a mile or so. Very puffed he was when he got to Bywater just at the stroke of 11, and he found he had come without a pocket handkerchief. Now, Dr. Tolkien was writing his character, and he envisioned a Victorian or Elizabethan gentleman, probably Victorian. And so the sketches that he does show Bilbo in breeches and like a frock coat or a top coat and a waistcoat. And so to create this look is actually fairly straightforward and simple. And what we're going to do is take that iconic image of what a halfling or a hobbit would look like and build upon that. And the first thing we're going to do is, well, we're going to put on pants and a shirt. Okay? Give me a second. And so here I am. Strange. Here I am as a basic dress for a hobbit, at least in my opinion. I am wearing knee breeches, and these are by our good friends Mathalan. Now, we've looked at these before. They come in black, they come in brown. I've chosen a brown pair. The shirt is actually from a company called the Gentleman's Emporium, and it is online. And they do Victorian and Edwardian dress, and this is perfect for this look. It has a folding attached collar. It does button through to the neck. And it gives you a really, really nice look. Now, in the Hobbit Bilbo is relatively well-to-do. This is just your basic undergarment, so to speak. We need to have a vest. And we have picked one out from the Gentleman's Emporium that will go with the brown, and it looks very good. It's single-breasted. Nice jacket. Plenty of pockets. They make it in the United States, and they have all kinds of sizes, and they are fantastic. And when we put this on, it does kind of give you that rustic gentleman typey look. Now, I'm afraid Mr. Baggins here, our expert treasure hunter, has put on a couple of pounds. And, very tight. So, we might have to go get a different one. But this does give you a very iconic look. Now we could pair this with a tie or a kerchief of some kind, and in period, relatively big, but you really don't need one. I think with the open collar it looks okay, but it does kind of give you a gentlemanly, old style type of look. So, Mr. Baggins, if you will, without a pocket handkerchief even, oh dear, we really need to have a top coat with this to kind of give you that look. And also from the Gentleman's Emporium, we have picked up a frock coat, and this is in brown as well, and it really makes it look nice. Here, just a second. Now this frock coat in brown has a very good cut to it, and once you get it on, it does look very, very good. So, as we can see, our gentleman hobbit is relatively well dressed. Yes. Now, the beginning adventurer, this is kind of a nice look as a hobbit. Of course, we were going to film today, but as you saw from before, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So, but if we were going to do this as a halfling with the bare foot, there are some shoes out there that you could modify to look like a barefoot and put some fur on the top of it and have a really, really nice look. One thing we're going to add to this is a belt. And I think this is a very nice belt. This is Blockade Runner, and this is one of their Georgia buckles. It's a very just straightforward belt, but it will come in handy to hold things up and add to it, as there are pockets on these trousers. However, there's no back pockets. And so we can add a bag, we can add some things. It will just kind of hold the trousers up just a little better. And there we go. All right, yeah. Oof. Well, hopefully on this adventure I'll lose a little weight. Yes, quite. But, hat-wise, Bilbo left without a hat. There are several different types of hats that we could wear. We could wear a flat cap. We could wear a bowler, I suppose, if you want to kind of go with the same type of time period look. But in reality, it doesn't look too bad. We look actually pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it, actually. Yeah. So, Mr. Baggins, or Mr. Underhill, we do have a very nice look going, and really, adventure-wise, about the only thing we need to do is just add a weapon. Bilbo left without a weapon. No, let me go back. Let me go back and read you this passage, because it's very important. Now, like I said, in the book, Bilbo leaves without hardly anything. And so, Bilbo meets the dwarves, and he says, well, I'm not really ready to go. But I've come without a hat, I've left my pocket handkerchief behind, and I have no money. I didn't get your note until 10:45 to be precise. Don't be precise, says Dwalin, and don't worry. You will have to manage without pocket handkerchiefs, without a good many things. before you get a journey's end. As for a hat, I have a spare hood and cloak in my luggage. And that is how it came to start. Jogging off from the inn one fine morning, just before May, on laden ponies with Bilbo wearing a dark green hood, a little weather-stained, and a dark green cloak borrowed from Dwalin. They were too large for him, and he looked rather comic. What would his father say? He didn't dare think. So, in addition, don't forget our pipe. In addition to this dress, Mr. Baggins picked up a cloak and a hood, a dwarven hood. And I think I don't have one in green, I'm afraid. However, I do have a nice black one. So over the top of this, a nice black dwarven hood. Oh. And a little weather beaten indeed. And I think I have a cloak over here. And so, a little big for him. Here we go, Mr. Underhill. So, but you can see from developing this persona, you could really do quite a bit, not directly copying who Mr. Bilbo Baggins is, but taking cues from that literature and from the films, which is...
Wait! Wait! I signed it.
Everything appears to be in order. Welcome, Master Baggins, to the company of Thorne Oakenshield.
Give him a pony.
And you can see how they interpreted it into the films. They're fantastic films. And so, we did our interpretation as well. The only thing that we are missing is perhaps our signature weapon, Sting. Now, I have quite a bit of weapons here, but I have no Sting model. Let me go look. And actually, I do have a Sting. It is. It's actually one of the, the wall hanger types, but it is a lot of fun. But and then I do have this very simple sword sheath from Mytholin that has a nice little look to it. And instead of perhaps Sting, which is slightly small for my human size, let's look around and see what we have. Oh, you know what would work very well? Now there are Sting Larp swords out there that you could add to it, but like I said, I'm not actually being Bilbo Baggins. I'm kind of being a rogue hobbit. Let's use this Katz and Dagger. Let's use this. Let's use our ring sword. It is a short sword, but it is very nice. And there we go. I don't really look very dangerous. I don't really look very dangerous. But getting into small places and breaking into things and finding treasure would be very, very beneficial to any party, and I would hire me, and you probably should too. But one other thing, very iconic to the character, if I had a magic ring, oh yes, if I had a magic ring, which allowed me to disappear How much better would that be? Now I can sneak into places without anybody seeing me and do all kinds of havoc. A magic invisibility ring, or a magic invisibility potion, or I suppose, if you will, a magic cloak of invisibility would be very, very helpful. And as the rogue character, would be very, very, very nice to have. So, let me take this ring off so you can see me. Haha, not bad. And so, yeah. Character-wise, this would be a pretty neat look. Would actually kind of fit into the Hobbit role a little bit. Hummity-dummity-dummity. And probably when we get to do our dwarf characters here shortly, it'll be pretty nice too. But this is just one type of the rogue. And racial characteristics wise, the hobbits and halflings do have some nice bonuses to go with them. But let's take a look at what a rogue actually can do. And we'll go back, and we will go back to our player's handbook and talk about his little deals. Halfling Rogue Starter Pack. Oh, cool. That actually tells me what I get to do. Leather armor. Alright. Weapon, short sword. Yeah. Small piercing light crossbow. Alright. Medium sized dagger. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Skill selection. Pick a number of skills equal to 8 modifier. Oh well, alright. Skill. Move silently. Oh yeah. Hide. Perhaps turn invisible. Climb. Disable device. Oh yeah. Disarm. Oh yeah. Listen. Alright. Open lock. Lock picking. Oh, very good, very good, very good. Search. Spot. Use magical device. Like a magic ring, perhaps? Pick a pocket. Decipher script. Bluff. I'm perfectly harmless. I am just merely a hobbit. I have no idea what you're talking about, officer. Intimidate. Well, as a hobbit, I could probably intimidate small creatures. Uncanny dodge, evasion, and of course, sneak attack. My good friend the otter who plays with us, she is a rogue, and in combat, she takes out quite a few enemy characters by sneak attacking them. She comes up behind them. She's made a little foam sap. She goes up behind them and sneak attacks and waylays them, and out they go. And she's very good at it. And in direct combat, she would die immediately. She does have her bow. She does have her arrows, but she basically circles around. Whoop! On the back of the head, out goes the monster. We search it. Okay? So, for the hobbit, or at least for the halfling, I think we're looking pretty good. This is a half circle cloak. It's very straightforward and simple. There are designs out there, but it is literally a half circle with a neck hole. It has a brief cloak clasp. The hood, very straightforward and simple. I will be making one in green along with a cloak just to go with this look because I think it's funny. If anybody actually gets the reference, that I will be even more happy. But not lined. And then the hood will keep you warm. And will cover your face. But really, what more can a hobbit want? So, anyhow. Yes. Shall we go on to the next character? Shall we go on to the next character build? The only thing that I would say for doing this is get some fake hobbit feet, and we will. I think we will build some. We will build some hobbit feet, gentlemen and ladies, and we will do this character at some time or the other. I like it. I do. I really like it. It looks pretty good. And as you can see, pretty straightforward. I do need to lose some weight or get a bigger vest. Yes, quite. So let's move on to the next, which is going to be your traditional rogue, your traditional fantasy rogue. Okay. All right. And so I'm kind of back in my generic role-playing costume. I've got black boots, which are very just black and plain. I got my black pants on, and I've got a white shirt. This is my start for pretty much any basic build in character. So this does play very nicely into the rogue, because I do have my black pants and my black boots. And let's be honest, when we're thinking rogue, we are thinking black, 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 black. So we can build from this basic setup that you should already have in your toolbox, and without too much effort, go on. Now these are very, very basic black boots, and they're nice. They're nice. They're not very expensive. They wear pretty good. You probably get a season or two out of them. You can spend a lot of money and get some really nice boots that'll last longer, and it's up to you. I recommend that you start off very simple until you figure out what you want to do and then move on. So in addition to this basic black or basic outfit, I do have my belt back on to hold my trousers up. And I did leave this on here just to kind of show you a little again. It is very straightforward and simple. It'll fit almost any size sword. And got this from Dark Knight Armory. It is Mathalan. And it fits cutlass with no problem, basic swords with no problem. As long as it has something to hold on to or just stop it, it holds it pretty nicely. So for not much money, gives you a pretty nice little sword carry. Without the quillions, and here's another Epic Armory long dwarven sword. Without the quillions, it makes it a little harder because there's nothing to hold it. But this does hold, as you can see, it does hold this longer dwarf sword very, very nicely. And without having to get a regular sheath. Epic Armory's hybrid series, a nice long dwarf sword. Very iconic, almost goes like with the Hobbit movies, and I highly recommend it. It's very nice. And you have seen my short dwarf chopper before, but the end blade is way too big. And got a little dusty, got a little dirty, but that wipes right off. Do love this sword. And even with, I think this is Forgotten Realms. This is one of their elven katanas. It fits very well. So, let's go with a plastic waster. This is a training sword. This is a long sword. Hand and a half with the plastic waster. This too would also work. It makes a nice look. Alright, back to building. So, this shirt has wide cuffs that fold down. I do normally just roll them. But, you know, button cuffs, what have you. Over the top of this, let's go with this iconic, well, let's go back to the book, shall we? Let's take a look at, now we talked about the starting package for the rogue, for a halfling, and we talked about leather armor. Let's look for alternative rogue starting package, same as a human, or same as a halfling rogue, except human, dwarf, elf, half-elf, or half-orc. Armor, we're going with a leather armor. Okay? There's several different ways to do that, and I'll show you a couple ones. Weapons, a rapier, and instead of the short sword, a crossbow, medium size instead of a small crossbow, and then there's some racial characteristics. So leather armor, a couple different ways we could go. And one of those is those cheaper leather armors that just, well, let me dig it up. This is the Ready for Battle armor that Epic Armory puts out. And it's not bad. It is, it's light leather armor. I've done it. I put in a different chest piece on it, and actually to get it to fit to me, this wouldn't be too bad, and it would fit pretty good. But I do need somebody else here, and as you've no doubt seen, with the snow, we don't have anybody here to help me today. Nobody can get here. So, but this is kind of a nice look, and it would fit in pretty good. And once this gets fit right, it'll set in pretty nice. And it's not a bad look. It is light armor. It will provide you some good protection. And that is definitely one way to go. It comes in black. It comes in the brown. And you can modify it a little bit to your own feelings. But another way to go, and we're going to stick with the black, another way to go is this, because we're also talking light armor, okay? Now this is a motorcycle vest, actually. But once we get it on, this also gives you this very, very iconic look. And as light leather will give you that point. The thing I like about it, it's got pockets everywhere. So you can put things in all these pockets. It gives a good look. It goes fairly well with what we're looking at. And it's not terribly expensive, and should count towards a point of armor, okay? And then when we add our rapier, we're looking pretty good. This gives you the black on black. We could put a hood on this pretty easy and add to this. And not just the dwarf hood that we had. I have another one. And this is another style. But it's basically the same concept. This is one that Joris has made for us. It has a little bit of red flare to it. So it can be very, very black, or it can be more red. And once again, we have this very iconic look that we're going for, okay? We could add a longer cloak to this if you want, but really, we need to do something with our hands. And we have a couple different options. With our gloves, I'm going to go with these nice Hatch Frisk gloves. And it gives you a very tight fit, but you feel well. And once they are on, they do have a very good look. And it's not bad. It's pretty good. And you can do lock picking, you can do sword fighting, you can do a lot of stuff with these on without that much difficulty. Now, this doesn't look too bad as your basic rogue. And so, but you can build from here. It talks about the weapons. We're talking a crossbow. We could have a crossbow. We could have a bow. And both of those would be very effective because, once again, we're not a frontline fighter. We're not trying to get in there and fight. We can waylay, we can sneak attack, we can do long distance shooting with our bow and crossbow, and we have some light protection, but we're really more of a stealthy type of character. And so there's other ways that we could take a look at doing this, and you've seen me do this before. So we can go with the doublet, which also gives a very nice look. A little more high class, a little more upscale. We could go with a different colored shirt if we wanted to. We could go with this opened or closed. Go back with the gloves to give us even a more stylish look. Or we can go with a very simple flat hat, which gives us a little bit of shade for the eyes. We could go with a full cloak over the top of this, or in addition to. But let's say you really want to do the whole black on black on black. Here's what we're looking at. Now, we have our black boots on. We have our black pants. We have a black shirt. Our black leather armor vest. Our belt with rapier. We have our bow and quiver, and our gloves. And if we need, we could put on our hood, because we have that on too. And if somebody has a question of what kind of character you're playing, and you're wearing this, unless they mistake you for an NPC, which they shouldn't. Yeah, this is your rogue character in the traditional sense. You could go with this other leather armor. Probably if I'm going to use my bow, I'm going to use my leather bracers, also in black leather. And I could add a few more daggers here and there. But for the most part, costume-wise, weapons-wise, with some little minor change-outs, we are pretty good. We could do a crossbow with this as the rogue. In some games, though, it's spell packets, or arrow packets. And so you simulate shooting the bow, and then you throw the packet. Our game, of course, we use Larp bows. But at the end of the day, you're playing that same character class as our halfling. There's not much difference in what you can and cannot do. This is more of your traditional adventure kit. And we can build from here to do various other things. But for the most part, if you're just going to be a fantasy rogue, here's a pretty good start out. And build from this and try to develop your own interpretation of it. This is what you're going to see in the books all the time. There's the guy in black, the sneaky little bastard in black. And with minor variations, this is your enemy, or your not enemy, your bad guy in all these different role-playing games. I think you can use a little more imagination than this. This is perfectly fine if you want to build on that. That's what I would recommend. Okay? Now, I want to take a look at a couple other things, because not just this, as your fantasy adventurer, rogue, lockpicker, spell detrapper, or disarmer, hidden door finder, because there's that iconic idea of, yeah, I'm going to pick this lock, how do I do it? Some games make you actually do it. Do you need to be a professional lockpick? No, because the locks we use are very straightforward and simple. 1 or 2 tumblers. There are lock kits out there, and in the Sisteria series, as this series goes on, we will talk about that, and we're going to show you some of that stuff as we move on with this. But there's more that I want to do, and I want to show you the next version, or the next variation of the rogue, which is, I don't know what we're going to call him. Swashbuckler, I think, would probably be the best way to put it. So, let me let me change again. It's been a long changing day. All right, give me a second. All right, for this particular brand of character, we are going with a swashbuckler, otherwise known as a pirate. But it could be a smuggler. It could be quite a bit of things. But really, we're kind of looking at a pirate, aren't we, guys? So this could be done a few ways. I'm still using my same basic black boots. black pants. I flopped it out with this nice, pretty Amazon piratey shirt and a red sash. It's just a hunk of red cloth. I'm still using that same Georgia belt. It makes a really good look. And I've got a Mytholin cap on. This is kind of their beret, kind of a floppy cap. Very suitable for the time period, several different styles. It's very adjustable, can be worn in various ways, and is one of the versions. More typically for this swashbuckler, we're going to see a tricorn or a bicorn hat, which I do have a copy of, and this is actually a a Pirates of the Caribbean make, and found it online. It's very, very cost effective. It's a fairly good hat. This is a little weird looking, but for not much money, I do have my piratey hat. Now, with this, I wouldn't need much more than this, and this tells everybody basically who I am. But if I wanted to complete this and continue on, I could put a jacket over the top of this, and I found one that I think that you're really going to enjoy. Just give me a second. Now, this is a Mytholin frock coat. And I just got this in the other day, and it is not lined at all, which is kind of nice and kind of bad. It's got a little bit of detailing, but it's all in black. And you know what? Let me take this off for a second. And so, let me get my poofy pirate sleeves to show. Get the cuffs set right. And I really kind of like this jacket. It's very straightforward and basic. But it does have what I would consider a very piratey look to it. And with the trousers and the boots and the waist sash, once again, you could button this up if you wanted to. But for the most part, this is kind of a nice, pretty decent look for a pirate and swashbuckler. And once we put on the hat, well, sir, as you can see, we are, well, fairly much a buccaneer, or a swashbuckler, if you will. Now, weapons-wise, we're probably going to go with a cutlass. We could go with a rapier. We could go with an axe. We could go with some boarding axes. We could go with a couple other different weapons. We could go with our band gun, stuffed into our belt, depending on the game. But I think we're going to go with that cutlass, and I think I want a big heavy leather baldric. And believe it or not, I have one. Just this baldric from Epic Armory, or no, this is Mytholin. This baldric was made for this persona. It is a big, heavy leather piece, and as you can see, fits perfectly with this persona. Goes all the way around the back. You can change it out and adjust the sword carrier for your sword, and it fits the rapier very, very well. It fits any kind of sword for the most part, but for this, we really kind of need to do a cutlass, and this is a beautiful cutlass, and really makes the whole thing look wonderful. So let me get my tricorn back on. As pirates go, I'm fairly piratey. Now, I could throw a dagger in, a hidden dagger. I could throw some knives on here. Like I said, we could have some boarding axes or throwing axes as well. But our primary weapon is going to be the cutlass. And possibly a pistol or two, depending on your game scenario. This definitely has a iconic look to it. And player characters that you're with are definitely going to know what kind of person you are by this look. Is this a rogue? Well, yeah. Yes, it is. Because remember, rogue is not defined by a certain characteristic. It is wide-ranging. Would I be a thief and a burglar or a smuggler? Yes, I could well be. Pickpocket? Probably. Strong arm robbery? Definitely. A few other things that would fit into whatever game system I'm wanting to play into? Yeah, perhaps, depending on what's going on in your world. This doesn't fit in Larp of the Borderlands very well, unless we're, I suppose down south on the Riverlands and the boats coming back and forth. You would have nautical types. But in your game, seafaring might be a thing, and this is definitely an iconic seafarer. So, once again, we've shown you three different separate builds towards the same thing. We've done the halfling based on the Hobbit, so to speak. We've done the fantasy rogue character, and now we've done the swashbuckler pirate. And as you can see, with minor variations, we're looking pretty good. Okay? All right. So the next episode of this, we're going to start delving into the details of how to put your thieves kit together. What would I be carrying other than this to be the rogue? Okay? All right. Well, this is Thorne. It's been great. It's still snowing outside. I think we're up to about a foot, maybe a little over a foot. It's cold, and I think I'm going to go upstairs and have a coffee and maybe something yummy. All right? So, from Larp on the Borderlands and everybody that couldn't be here because of the snow on the production team, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time, okay? Have a good one.